Welcome! During our last compression check, our number 3 cylinder came in at 63/80, which is a significant drop from 1 year earlier. When a cylinder compression is down, we need to determine the cause. Is it the intake valve, the exhaust valve, or is it rings? A quick way to determine that is to listen. With the cylinder at top dead center and all valves closed, and somebody holding the prop, you add 80 psi to the cylinder, and you listen to the exhaust pipe. If the exhaust valve is leaking, you'll hear it. Next, you listen to the air intake. If the intake valve is leaking, you'll hear it. And finally, remove the oil filler and listen to the crankcase. If the leak is pushing past the rings, you'll hear it. You might even feel it.
Okay, we have it on. Listen to the rings. Away.
Okay, we have bad rings on cylinder number 3.
The tattletale is exhaust coming out of the, I guess the right side or cylinder 3, and look at the black behind it versus this side. There, that's a better view there.
Let's fix it.
So I thought...
You don't need those hoses. Just. Well, I'm sure he's happy to have all his help.
It's because of his coffee. He comes for the coffee.
Number 1 and number 3
On the top.
top.
To get down to the cylinder itself, there's a fair bit that needs to be removed. Lycoming lists the following steps to remove a cylinder. Remove the exhaust manifold, drain tube, intake pipe, baffles, and any clips that might interfere with the removal of the cylinder. Disconnect the ignition cables and remove the spark plugs. Rotate the engine to top dead center for the cylinder in question, and then remove the rocker box cover, push rods, shrouds, rocker arms, rocker shaft, and cylinder base nuts.
Yes, it is. Nice. So this is number 3, bottom. All right.
And I just finished doing 3 bedrooms with hardwood floors.
Oh, fun.
Oh,
How's your knees?
oh boy. Well, it's not so bad. You kind of just crouch.
So this is the, what are we doing? We're doing CHT number 3.
Number 3.
And it's just up, turn, and down. Okay, that's off. So we have the
EGT.
EGT off here and CHT off here.
Yeah, I was going to buy a new battery for my lawnmower, and then I realized I still have the old original battery out of that Honda out there, and it might be good enough.
Holy
Try that
shit!
today.
What the hell's wrong with it?
So when the camera's not running, I'll tell you. I don't like throwing anybody under the bus.
Oh my god, I hope mine is not like that. I'll have to check it. My annual.
I know the day that happened.
Oh.
I have no battery now. I've just lifted off, but I have an electric. Yeah.
Take this, Trudeau. You have electric planes.
Was that sealed on there?
So you can see it there, eh?
I just thought it was when you're building it or something.
Plan's built.
Okay, so I've undone these 2. I've had to go across to the other side, and I removed the 2 on that side, and that's made this loose enough now to pull out. And there we go. There we go.
So you don't. I have an electric primer, a little pump. You have probably. It's squirting out.
That's good.
It is good. Tim Hortons coffee. Yay! Squirting out.
Okay, I'm getting down to there's not a lot connected to this thing now.
Here I'm beginning the process of removing the engine baffles. This is different for every aircraft. On air-cooled engines, baffles are needed to direct the flow of air over the cylinders.
Well, I think we're going to have to drill these rivets out up here.
Well,
You have to take that down.
Continuing to work on baffle removal.
grab it from that side.
You've got some
You can shake
shit
it in the
there.
garbage.
I'll take that.
Okay, thank
Shake
you.
it, shake it in the garbage. Yeah, I think you're.
Now here I have to remove the rocker cover just to give us a little extra clearance to get the baffle off the engine.
See?
I was.
You were right. You were right.
Yeah, get that over like that. Yeah.
You're close.
You're there. You are there, my friend. Wow, I'm impressed.
Wow, good job, guys.
Good job, guys.
Wow. An amazing piece of work. Wow. There we go.
Removing the between cylinder baffle retainer.
There's the bottom of the between cylinder shroud.
Here I'm bringing cylinder number 3 to top dead center to remove pressure off both the exhaust and intake valves. Just bending back the nut retainer or lock. With the nut retainer pushed out of the way, I can remove the shroud tube nut, followed by the shroud tube lock plate and spring. Because the tension is off the valves, meaning we have the engine at top dead center, I can now push aside the valve rocker shaft. Here I'm first removing the intake rocker assembly.
Cool. There we go.
Followed by the exhaust rocker assembly.
All right.
Here I'm removing the intake push rod, followed by the exhaust push rod. Next I'm removing the exhaust shroud tube assembly, followed by the intake shroud tube assembly. And next I'm removing the valve rocker shaft.
I'm looking underneath cylinder number 3, and I can see that there's more I'm going to have to remove. This oil return line, I've disconnected it from the cylinder, but it's going to be in the way in there. I won't be able to get at those nuts. And I'll also have to disconnect the oil return on the number 1 cylinder and down here. And I think I'm going to have to pull the exhaust right out, because I'm going to need access to those bolts down there.
When reassembling the aircraft, these parts need to go back to their exact position, so they need to be carefully laid out and labeled. Here I'm removing the number 1 cylinder exhaust gas temperature probe and the number 1 cylinder bottom spark plug wiring.
So I have a muffler bolt here that has a nut that has completely rusted away here. There's nothing left of it. I have it spinning, but this and this are spinning as one, and I have to remove this. So don't quite have a solution yet to show you that you see how that's spinning? And I can't seem to connect to it, to hang on to it. There's not enough there to bite. Yeah, it's just grabbing the threads. Ugh. No, it's slipping. Yeah, it's just slipping.
I initially tried drilling this out, which was dumb. I'm not sure what I was thinking. But then I switched to the Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel. That worked very well.
Okay, I'm getting closer. Am I gonna get this out of here? Come on out. There she comes. Okay, that was a bit of work. All right. Just about. Oh yeah. Hey, what's going on?
Here I'm removing the oil return line from the number 1 cylinder. Again, this is all just to make room to remove the number 3 cylinder. Removing the number 1 cylinder primer line. I can now start on the cylinder itself. Here I'm removing one of 4 3/8 nuts. You need a 9/16 wrench to remove these. Here are the two engine-specific wrenches you need to remove a cylinder on an O360 engine. A 3/4 inch and a 9/16 cylinder base nut wrench.
So we're on the 3/4.
On the O360, the 3/4 inch nuts are torqued to 50 foot-pounds.
Oh, that's wow. Okay.
Now I did bring a pipe as an extender.
Okay, I'll hold it this way and
Okay.
you pull on it.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. It's going. Keep going. Okay. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Crap. I got it.
It's right there.
So this is the last of the 3/4.
Yep.
Ready?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. More.
How would one guy do this by himself?
He does. Finds a way. Yeah, it's
We're good?
yeah, we're good.
We need some towels or something, eh? To protect the piston. I'm gonna get underneath, okay?
And just
I'm gonna get, I can see it, just,
yep.
okay, I've got my hand. Go, you're not gonna, I won't let it fall.
There we go. That's it.
This
Valves
thing,
are nice. Exhaust valve is like brand new. Yeah, burning a bit of carbon, but that's normal for low lead.
let me, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, they're huge pistons.
Well, it's
That's why they developed that much horsepower.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-cylinder, but it's bigger than a Chevy 350.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
manly.
Yeah. That's your problem.
It's so polite. It's such a polite way of saying you're
Just gently. There we go. No, stick out, come on. There we are.
It's just being modest.
Yeah. Look on in between the connecting rod and the side of the piston where the is coming out. There's
Yeah, I see it.
see it's dirty. So that's what's stopping it.
Not having a brass punch handy, I quickly made a punch from a scrap piece of Baltic birch.
Yeah, it's definitely moving.
Ow. Ow, ow, ow.
That's why they give you more than one finger. You got it?
Yep.
So Lycoming at the top. Got
Yep. That's marked right there. Lycoming.
Perfect.
So that fits at the top.
Very good. So we have to re-torque these.
Have you got a torque wrench
I do. I brought one out, but
at home?
No, I have 3. And shut up. Okay, I have 3, but we need a 1/2-inch driver. That's tight enough.
Yep, it is. Yeah,
We're retorquing the 3/4 inch nuts while we wait for the cylinder to be serviced.
that's it.
Okay.
No wear on these two anyway, the ones I can see.
What in particular are you looking for?
For on the surface of the camshaft where the lifter slides on top.
Okay.
So this one, they're clean. They're nice and clean and don't seem.
Oh, I'm looking at the cam now.
Yeah. See, very nice and clean, no wear.
Very good.
So that's what you want to see.
Very good.
Well, the verdict is in. Aero Atelier found a small crack in the cylinder near the spark plug. So our new cylinder and piston is in. Well packaged.
Well, that's really well packed.
Looks pretty shiny.
So here's the new kit.
Yep, the new kit.
We will not be using the cork.
Nope.
We're going to be using the old... why was it a certified issue? Like they had to...
Yes, it's certified equipment, and it costs so damn much money to
Change it.
to certify something else.
Yeah, they just include cork. We're not using that.
No.
Okay, we could almost just pry it a little bit. Eh? Oh, just careful. Oh, you're scaring me now. Just so you know, you pulled out the piston just enough for the piston pin to be removed. Let's take a look at the difference between the old and the new. This is even a different size.
Well, it doesn't matter as long as it works.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
The only problem is the size of this. Does it match the size of that? I think so, though. Yeah, that's the sealing surface here.
Just the beveled edge.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Wow.
Just receives the cylinder, and the O-ring just fits on top of here.
Here we are applying a little lubricant to each of the 8 bolts. This is to ensure there is no drag between the nut and the bolt, and it will enable us to get an accurate torque reading when we are seating the cylinder.
Okay, I can see. Come forward.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
It's in.
Okay,
That is in. So stay there.
yeah.
I'll go get the, good for you. Okay. Okay, I'll try to wiggle it.
Yeah, we'll do it. There.
It's in.
Okay.
It's in. Okay. I'll hold this. You push. Holy crap. It's working.
Okay, watch.
Yep. How long till we get to take a break? Holy shit.
Okay. There.
Holy shit.
It's upside down.
No, it's not. I always edit out all the swearing and the...
Yeah, you will get some. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's 50 pounds for the big ones.
Yeah, but they also give us a sequence apparently.
Oh, there, I know the sequence.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're right. The big ones are 50, the small ones are
25, yep. Half the torque, so it's 25 on the big ones to start with.
Understand.
And then 13 or 14 for the little ones.
For tightening the cylinder base bolts, Lycoming calls for 1/2 of their final torque initially.
So what we're doing right now is we're pre-torquing to half of their final torque.
Lycoming goes on to say that when you get to the final torque numbers, in this case 50 foot-pounds, you are to hold it for 5 seconds.
That's fantastic.
Top of the push tubes.
Yeah, and the bottom.
Bottoms of the push tubes.
Here we are removing the old O-ring from the push tube. You can see the old versus the new. Here we are seating the push rod, push tube. They need to be pushed in quite firmly to seat properly. We're using a piece of Baltic birch to provide a gentle yet firm base to push against.
Come on.
Watch here, you can clearly see and feel when it is seated properly.
There.
Wow, you got it. That is so cool.
There it is.
Adding lubricant to the end of the push rods. Installing the push rods and getting ready for the rockers. So, I'm going to stop the video here for a minute. Although we continue to move forward to install the rockers, the rocker shaft, the next day I decided that I wanted to test our dry tappet clearance. So rather than continuing to move forward in this video, I'm going to jump ahead to the point where the rockers and the rocker shaft is installed, and I'm doing a little disassembly to enable me to remove our hydraulic lifter, tappet, and body. This is necessary if we want to test our dry tappet clearance. Dry tappet clearance means checking the clearance with no oil in the hydraulic lifters. Now, Aircraft Spruce sells a rocker arm shaft removal tool. It's like $104, or about $140 with shipping and tax. I chose to make my own, like for free, which I'm pretty sure does a better job than the purchased unit, as mine provides a much more even pressure on the valve springs. So my rocker arm shaft removal tool screws down to compress the valve springs, allowing the shaft to be slid out with no spring pressure. With the cylinder at top dead center and still pressure in the hydraulic tappet plunger assembly, with my rocker arm shaft removal tool, I can easily slide out the rocker shaft and remove the rockers. Removing the pushrod tubes. Fishing for the hydraulic tappet socket and plunger assembly.
Ha ha! Look at me. Come on out. Come on. Just about grabbed it. Come on.
This part here is called the socket for the pushrod. It is the first part of the hydraulic tappet.
Ho ho ho! Very cool. Okay, let's set that aside.
So on this first one, the hydraulic tappet plunger assembly did not come out in one piece. This is just the first part of the plunger assembly.
Right, so this one's coming out a little different. The entire piece is coming out, which is what I want. There we go. Let's go over to the bench and take a closer look at that.
Here is a better view of the entire hydraulic tappet plunger assembly minus the tappet socket.
With this dried out, I can compress it now, which I could not do before. So this is pretty neat. This is the hydraulic tappet assembly. This part right here is called the socket. I'll just set it aside for a minute. And this assembly has got a little piston in it. Move back here. Little piston in it like that. And on the very end, right here, which is pushing against the cam in the engine, what happens is, in order for the valves to adjust, oil goes in here and starts packing up the cylinder inside like this until it's adjusted properly. And of course, this is pushing against the push rods like that. And so it's going back and forth like this every time that the intake valve needs to open. What's kind of neat is how this part here actually works. Inside, I don't know if we can see in there. No, don't think you can. There's obviously a little tiny little hole right in the end. You can just see a tip of it there. And air, or in the case of the engine, oil, only goes one way. So once the oil gets in, it can't get out, and therefore the valves, as things wear and so forth, they become adjusted with this just slowly moving out like that.
Installing the tappet assembly as well as the socket cap. Now, I have purposely not installed the pushrod shrouds because I am performing a dry hydraulic tappet valve measurement, and I will disassemble and reassemble one more time before we're done. So I'm moving on to the rockers.
That's still. All right. Right.
The dry tappet valve clearance needs to be between 28 and 80 thou. The exhaust valve came in at 72, which is perfect.
So just an update on my progress, or lack thereof. I did the dry tappet test on this. It came in at 72 thou, which is fine. It has to be between 28 and 80 with a dry tappet. So I've gone ahead and installed the pushrod tube. This is a different case though. It's pushing so tight. It's not even letting the valve close. So the valve is remaining open. So this is too long. So I called Charles at Aero Atelier, and he said the first thing to try is to swap the two push rods. So I've done that. It made no difference. And he said if it makes no difference, he wants me to give him a call with the part number off of this, and he's going to send me a shorter one. So it looks like I need a shorter push rod for this brand new piston and cylinder. Okay, I can't quite see this with the naked eye, so let's see if we can read it together. 7, 3, 4, 3, looks like a 6. Is that a 5 or a 6? Looks like a 5 like that.
So talking with Charles from Aero Atelier, we started discussing the different lengths of the Lycoming push rods, the different lengths they come in. They are all subtle differences, like measured in thousandths of an inch differences. This wasn't sitting right with me. I'm not dealing with an intake valve that's just beyond tolerances. I'm dealing with an intake valve that is being held open by the rocker. Something's wrong here. Discussing this with Charles, he suggested that I double check to make sure that I hadn't assembled the tappet assembly incorrectly. I assured him it was correct. We agreed he would send me a few different push rods, all shorter than the one that I was using. This still wasn't sitting right with me, so I decided to remove the valve cover from my number 1 cylinder. I wanted to visually compare my number 1 cylinder valves with the cylinder that I had just received from Aero Atelier. Well, take a look at this. Both the intake valve and the exhaust valve on my number 1 cylinder look identical. Now take a look at my number 3 cylinder intake valve. This valve has to be 5 to 6 millimeters longer. This isn't right. I sent this picture to Charles. He immediately responded with, "Stop everything. We accidentally installed the wrong valve, and I'm sending you a new cylinder today." Wow, what a catch. Had I not checked my dry tappet valve clearance, I would have started this engine with no compression on number 3 cylinder, and worse, possibly damaged the camshaft. I am so thankful for Aero Atelier. Yes, this was their mistake. Even experts make mistakes, but they were so quick to correct the problem, which in this case ended up with them sending me another cylinder. I simply wouldn't tackle this job without having their team available for parts and advice. Here is the new cylinder. This time Aero Atelier sent along a few different lengths of push rods, just in case we needed a different length. Nice.
Looks better. There's a cap missing off of this though. Got to be a cap over top of that. I'll have to take it off the old one. So here's the, this was the new cylinder, and this is the new cylinder. And you can see the difference right here in the valve. This is the correct valve, this is the incorrect valve. You'll also notice this cap right here, which pops off. You can see just lifting it there. That's got to be installed on here. Oil return is installed. The cylinder head temperature, I need to move that over to here. And also the fuel primer right here. I got to take this out and install that.
Installing the CHT probe receiver on the new cylinder. Using an Allen wrench to remove the primer plug. Installing the number 3 cylinder primer line connector. Now the delicate job of pulling the piston out just far enough to insert the piston pin, but not far enough to expose the rings. I'm going to jump ahead here as you don't need to see me install the cylinder a second time. Nothing new to share other than it seemed to go faster the second time and there was probably less swearing.
And this spring, yeah, that's pretty clear which way that goes.
Here I'm moving on to installing the pushrod shroud retainer spring. Once the nut is tight, we bend over the metal tab to keep the nut from loosening.
I got it right here.
All right, I've got the back opened, so I'm going to squeeze that in, see what that does. Oh, look at that. Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll do good.
I'm guessing you just use your fingers?
Yeah.
My fingers?
Yeah.
Good time to
And
have...
then don't lick your fingers after.
Oh! You wanting me to get in there?
There we go.
Okay.
That's it. Put your finger in it. Let your finger do the walking.
Well, I can't see anything. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Right there.
Right there?
Yeah, right there.
Right in there?
Yeah. That's okay. A little bit further down.
My finger doesn't fit farther down.
Okay, that's it.
Are we done?
Yeah.
I now need to reinstall a portion of the rubber baffles. This rubber seals up tight against the engine cowling, ensuring that all the air that enters the cowling is directed over the cylinders for cooling.
Warm it up a little bit.
Okay.
2 minutes, and then you can creep it up slowly.
So if you want it higher, you're going to go...
Yeah. Or lower,
Okay.
or shut.
Okay, got that. And don't be doing any of this.
Here go. You remember that, eh? And then you have to tap your,
Don't be
roll
doing
your
any of
head
that
and
shit.
tap your belly at the same time.
Don't be doing that shit. Ready?
Wow, what a great project. Big shout out to Aero Atelier. Those guys are fantastic, as well as my good friend Henry Monin. I have some replacement EGT probes on back order. As soon as they are in, Whiskey will be back in the air. Hey, thanks for watching.